introduce yourself for the record, please.
Yes, sir. DeMetris Causer, voting rights attorney and fellow with the Legal Defense Fund, or LDF. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for your time. Thank you for members of the committee for yours as well. And I'll be very brief. Studying this issue pursuant to House Study Resolution 3 of the 2024 regular session is an important step toward addressing the costs and challenges associated with this system, challenges that impact not only state budgets, but critically the voters themselves. And so 4 very quick points. First, it is important to recognize what decades of research have shown: holding elections off cycle or outside of federal election years depresses voter turnout, and the impact is not felt equally across the electorate. Off-cycle elections place a disproportionate burden on young voters, black voters, and low-income voters, groups that already face barriers to the ballot box. And when elections are held on irregular dates, the cost of participation increases. Voters have to rearrange schedules, take time off of work, rearrange child care, secure transportation, and navigate varying rules and processes multiple times each year. Second, the current system doesn't just burden voters. As already mentioned, it also costs the state. Administering additional elections requires funding for polling places, staff, equipment, and logistics. And for instance, the state estimates that by moving to a closed primary system, the cost could be between $9.5 and $17.5 million, in part because it adds additional election dates to an already crowded calendar. Third, voter turnout in Louisiana steadily declined. Between 1983 and 95, about 71% of registered voters turned out to vote in gubernatorial elections, but in 99 and through 2019, that average dropped to just 45%. That's a 26 percentage point decrease. And turnout in the 2023 gubernatorial primary was incredibly low at just 36%. And in the past 10 gubernatorial elections, 7 had turnout rates below 70 or below 50%. And so voter participation is key to a healthy democracy, and consolidating elections could help reverse this troubling downward trend in turnout. And fourth, lastly and importantly, federal courts have recently examined Louisiana's election system and cited the state's repeated and voluminous decentralized elections as one of the practices that may enhance discrimination against black voters. And so there's a potential solution that may be consolidating elections. And so by moving state, local, and other elections to even-numbered years so they align with federal elections, Louisiana can increase voter turnout, reduce disparities, and lower costs. Research backs this up. Multiple studies have shown that election consolidation is one of the most effective reforms for boosting turnout. In fact, cities like Austin and El Paso over in Texas moved their elections to coincide with federal election cycles, and they saw an increase from 240% to 460%. So putting the bottom line out there again, we encourage, and support these efforts to consolidate elections and explore these challenges, especially as it comes to alignment with the federal election calendar, because such on-cycle elections can drive voter turnout.
All right, do me a favor. Go back through the portion where the suggestion you were making, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir.
On the odd and even, just maybe slow down a second so I can absorb it a little bit. My mind doesn't work as quick.
I was trying to beat that 3-minute.
No, you did well. You did well. I understand. So go back through that part, if you don't mind, and tell me what your thoughts were on what would be consolidated.
Absolutely. So just as a potential solution, one which can definitely be and readily be explored would be consolidating elections. And so the possibility of moving local or even state elections to even-numbered years so they align with the federal election calendar could lead to an increase in voter turnout, reduce some of those disparities. And there's just some cited examples in Austin and El Paso where moving to on-cycle elections increased turnout from 240% to 460%.
Is there any negative, like let's just talk about the municipal elections, any negative to moving them? I mean, is there anybody that would jump up and scream and say, hey, look, this is a bad idea? Is there any reason?
A fair question. Happy to explore that in case there may be some ostensibly negative outcomes to some localities with that scheduling. I think when we look at it statewide, or when we look at it as a larger picture, there may be some efficacy to keeping it flexible by moving to on-cycle elections as far as voter turnout and increases go.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for your testimony. Appreciate you.
Mr. Chairman.